part one has to really see. Then, will the United States be able to afford to integrate India in all the major ongoing discourse which is happening, especially on how to really have or how to manage the global nuclear order? Obviously, in fact, India has been given lots of, waivers, like NSG has given waiver because of the US change of mind and the US pressure on the NSG members. And India has a specific facility, has specific safeguards, a lot of these things happened. But will the United States afford to include India when they really discuss about some of the technological know-how, technological development, especially as a full-fledged member of GNEP, that is called Global Nuclear Energy Partnership. And that really will give certain status to India. It's not happening, it's not happening. So that part again one has to see that how we really go by all this media hype in terms of understanding this bilateral relationship between India and the US. I am not going to make my lecture on India and the US relation. I would like to really restrict myself in terms of giving you certain understanding that how the things are evolving, how this process of change, transformation, and the transition which both India and the United States or US and South Asia have been confronting with. Other again, I will just take 2 minutes before I conclude. Other important thing is that will the US be able to grasp that India's rising power status, especially with a focus on a consistent economic growth, especially India's GDP in terms of purchasing power parity, be sufficient in terms of including India in the larger world economic debate. G20 again has really raised India's profile, India and China's profile. No one talks about G8 anymore. But when the question of voting rights comes, especially in the IMF and the World Bank, you see lots of inconsistencies. So I don't know how to really understand this behavioral pattern. So US really would require to be understood, especially from India's point of view, very carefully, and one has to really critically examine many of these developments, newer developments which have been shaping the relationship here. The other part which again I would like to raise and really see that how each one of us can think on these lines, what the US needs to do in South Asia in the foreseeable future. There are lots of common challenges, and these are all security challenges to the countries across the region. What the United States needs to do in South Asia in the foreseeable future. So the point which I would like to highlight here is that first of all the United States has to regain its trust and confidence. And once it regains the trust and confidence and engage itself meaningfully in terms of, undertaking damage control exercise. Can war be the solution in South Asia? I don't think that war is going to be a solution and the US can really afford to have a war. I think that is certainly ruled out now. US also understands that war is not the solution. So now, how best they can regain the trust and confidence, that is going to be one of the things they are required to do. How best the US can engage with the major tribe what they have really antagonized, that is Pushtun tribe. Because as you know that the concept of this Durand line and the division of between Afghanistan and Pakistan, and a large number of Pushtun tribe really, they are the inhabitants of Pakistan. And how they really have become a part of the larger, irritant in the minds of the US. So again, how to really engage them, how to really win the trust. So all these things will really US has to do in South Asia. Can the US afford, or can the US really after the withdrawal afford to promote India-Pakistan-Afghanistan cooperation? Highly unlikely, because India-Pakistan-Afghanistan cooperation again is open to debate. We can debate for hours and all. What are those elements which really will go into the cooperation? But will the US start that process? Right now, US really has been showing no sign of any. They want India for various reasons in Afghanistan, but can they really provide those amenities which are required to enhance India's status in Afghanistan? So these are again some of the challenges which the South Asia will confront in the foreseeable future. Can the United States afford to really control the strategic capabilities of Pakistan? Their views, if you talk to people at the top level in Delhi, they will tell you that, look, what are you talking? They really have been controlling their nuclear weapons, they have been controlling their ballistic missile. They will give you all the confused state of things. But actually what is happening, no one knows. And these type of attacks which are taking place really raises, it's a very alarming situation. So that is again a very important part. And then, can the US afford to expand India's role in global governance? I don't think again so that they would like India's participation at the UN and giving veto power, including in the Security Council. So all these things again, I don't know, this debate which you are having, so I just wanted to highlight certain points on the basis of the experiences which the US had in South Asia and what could be the foreseeable future. Anyway, because of the paucity of time, I have to stop it here because I can't go against the chair because he is a very, I don't know, strict chair. So I will stop it here for your attention. Thank you very much.